Hey, I'm Dave from VibeWire, here to bring you the latest vibe coding news and tools that you can use today. Wanted to start off with a story from Cursor here. Cursor's gone through some changes to their pricing model over the last month or so, and late last night they dropped a message about their pricing and how they're going to be refunding some customers and clarifying how pricing works. Looks like there's been some good response to that message recently. And if you click over to here, you'll see a blog post explaining it and some important things to keep in mind. So if you're on the Cursor Pro plan, that means you get unlimited usage of tab models and auto mode only. So if you're switching over to any of the frontier models like Sonnet or Opus or GPT-4o, you're going to be subject to the normal API pricing until you hit your usage level, and then you'll start to have to purchase by cost. They also made some updates clarifying some of the language around rate limits. So what they're saying is it's a usage credit pool for the month, and once you've exhausted your credit limit, then you'll have a short grace period, but then you'll have to pay for any additional usage. And I've already seen that this morning. I received the message while I was doing some coding that I'm at 90% of my usage for the month, and after that there'll be costs associated. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. Some other important things that they announced is that they're offering usage refunds for anyone who saw unexpected usage between June 16th and July 4th. Today's July 5th. In the last 15 days or so, if you've had any issues, then you can reach out to propricing@cursor.com, and hopefully they'll be able to help you out. All right, and next, let's talk about one of the interesting tools I've been using. This just released yesterday, and this is an AI visual translator, which is pretty interesting. What they claim to be able to do is to take the context of any particular web page you're looking at and translate that into visual diagrams to make it easier to understand for visual learners, for example, which I definitely count myself as one of those. So their example right here is a Wikipedia page. We'll do one of those in a second. I'll post the links in the show notes. This is a Chrome extension, link to the Chrome store, install it into your browser, and then use it from there. So switching over here to Wikipedia, which is where they demoed it, you can see here, and it actually shows up on any web page too, so it doesn't necessarily just have to be Wikipedia, but I think that's probably going to be the best example. So for any web page, you can see it'll show down here. You can move that around too. But let's just run through. And I switched over here a second ago, so you can see it does require an Open Router API key in order to use it. So I've got about $9 in the account right now. So I think it'd be an interesting experiment to see if we were to create diagrams for this Wikipedia page about how much that will cost. And you can see it's not the biggest Wikipedia page in the world. So let's see what it does. And you can see it animates into the page as it's building, which is nice, building out the diagram for you. So we can see here that it's actually pulling in the context of this particular paragraph that we're looking at. As you're reading this, or after you read it, and it inserts it right after, you get this visual reinforcement of the content that you just read over. For example, before MCP, developers often had to build custom connectors for each data source or tool, resulting in what Anthropic describes as an N-by-M data integration problem. And they nicely draw out what that kind of looks like. So you've got N different AIs, tools on this side, and then M different tools on the other. And they draw a nice kind of difference in the diagram here versus here's before MCP and here's after. You have one single interface for accessing these different tools, files, and systems. It's got some nice icons in here. Overall, I really like the look of this diagram. And if we scroll down, you'll see that this next diagram that it inserted, it's actually still working. If we scroll down here, you'll see it's added a bunch of additional diagrams while I was talking. It goes pretty fast. But you'll see the context of the diagram is actually confined to a couple of previous sentences. And you can see this one right here, what we talked about earlier. It looks like it might be reusing some of the context from the previous paragraphs as well, the previous section. Okay, so this is actually giving us a little bit of a timeline. So you can see it starts before MCP 2023 stopgap. which is in the previous section up here. It talks about the OpenAI's 2023 function calling API. I guess they're saying that's, earlier stopgap approaches, so it's taking that from the article. MCP's authors notes the protocol deliberately reuses message flow ideas from Lisp and is transported over JSON RPC 2.0. You can see some of that in here, and the MCP standard was announced 2024. It looks like it's getting all that right so far. So it is doing a pretty good job of looking back at the full context of the article. All right, so scrolling through the rest of these diagrams, looks like we're going from different external data sources, knowledge bases, to the MCP server, to the protocol, which exists in between to connect them all together. You've got your MCP clients. I don't know that, I guess your desktop apps that are LLM enabled can also talk via the MCP protocol, but I feel like that would still be contained under the MCP client if it's an MCP client, but I guess that might be nitpicking a little bit, but otherwise that seems right. MCP use cases, this is interesting. It does seem like it might be coming up with this. We know this is going through. I've set it up to use Claude Sonnet 4. So there's a little bit of LLM interpretation being added here. It's not just directly representing the facts from the article, it looks like, which could be good, could be bad, depending on your point of view. This is a little bit ugly, not very readable, but does seem to Zotero, PDF extract. These are all things that were mentioned that I noticed in the article earlier. This does seem a little bit repetitive, like it's reusing some things a bit where you can only say so many things about MCP. It'd be interesting if it was actually going in and reading some of these external links and then creating documents or visualizations for them. I'm not sure if that's what it's doing though. This is just another timeline, which doesn't seem to be related to the MCP prompt injection article here, so I don't know why it decided to insert this graph there, but it did add a number of documents, and this is funny, it also created a graphic for some of the Wikipedia content quality governance, some of the links that it found up here, so I don't really need a graphic for that. So it'd be nice to be able, some of the feedback I would have is it'd be nice for me to be able to limit the number of graphics displayed possibly, because I think this is quite a few too many and there was a lot of duplicated information. I really love the idea of being able to open an article though and have it generate infographics from text content though. I haven't found anything that does an amazing job of it that's like the ChatGPT moment for infographics. I'm going to keep playing around with tools like this and probably continue to use my OpenRouter credits for a little while just to play around with this on some different web pages, and I'll be sure to share if I find anything that works really well. But this is a pretty cool tool. And so I just found this. So it looks like this is nice. So this is in the actual Chrome editor extension where I added my OpenRouter key. There are also some advanced settings that I can include. So it looks like I could actually maybe remove some of the list item content types. It looks like you might be able to determine what context it takes in. And here's the system prompts. Looks like I could actually myself go in and maybe improve the system prompts. Be interesting to know if anyone has a really great infographics system prompt already that works with any particular model, because it does look like you can change models here. They've got a few to choose from. Be interesting to see how Opus does on this, but it doesn't look like it's an option. Yeah, I really like the fact that they allow you to change the system prompt for yourself. That's nice. And the total amount cost for that one Wikipedia page. Let's see what the damage is. So about 30 cents or so. Not too bad for one page. That sounds about right. If I were to ask Cursor to do the same thing, probably would actually cost a little bit more, because it would need to actually do the HTML rendering and everything, and being able to have it actually inserted into the web page like this is really cool. All right, so that's it for today's news and tools. Please check back again tomorrow. I plan on doing this on a daily basis. So please subscribe if you like this, and leave a comment if you have anything you'd like me to try out. Thanks a lot.